So, are traditional martial arts effective for police officers? I'm Dr. Jeremy Butler. I am a college professor, defensive tactics instructor, public speaker, and former police officer. So, in this video, we're going to talk about my views and perspectives on traditional martial arts training for police officers. As a martial artist myself with over 20 years of training in both traditional martial arts as well as more modern styles of martial arts, I will give you my perspective. So first of all, we have to ask, what do we mean by traditional martial arts? Well, I'm talking arts that are really what you would consider more based on the way people train in the more ancient times. So thinking about arts like karate, traditional jujutsu, these arts that we're talking earlier centuries in terms of timing. My answer would be yes and no. It really depends. If you are at a place that understands the importance of keeping up with the times when it comes to the training and making sure that your training is truly effective, there is no problem with going the traditional martial arts route. The problem is oftentimes in traditional martial arts, we remain stuck in tradition, right? So for example, in some styles, such as let's say karate, you know, some instructors may really be focused on kata, which are these prearranged forms, and they don't take it anything beyond that. You're just memorizing these movements, and they really lose their combative value. So you have that aspect, which in that format, no, I would not recommend that for a police officer. At least not for the purpose of building your control tactics ability. Now, if we can talk other benefits of traditional martial arts, your spiritual development, your physical development in terms of fitness, mentally, building your mental strength, things of that nature. The way of life associated with these martial arts, you definitely have that. But when we're talking raw control tactics, so taking what you're learning in a traditional martial arts school and trying to apply those techniques into a situation on the job, I think this is something we want to be really cautious about and making sure that we are training at the right place, because there are many schools out there that they really don't have it right. And some will admit it, that their art, it truly is art for them. Whereas others, they may make these claims about their effectiveness and it's not really backed by anything. So I'll say if you're gonna train in traditional martial art, make sure that you are at a school that has some realism behind their training. And some ways in which you can know that is, do they spar, right? Do you have training under live resistance? Because if you don't, that might be a red flag, because how we train is how we perform in real life. So if you're training in this martial art and you've never actually experienced what it's like to deal with that live energy, that live resistance, I would argue it's going to be tough to be able to allow that to translate into a real situation. But on the topic of kata, if you may have some traditional martial arts school that still teach kata, but they may still be legit, So if we take what we call, for the sake of example, what's called bunkai in traditional martial arts, specifically in karate, it's the Japanese term. It's basically referring to the application of the kata. So if you have a school that practices kata, but they teach applications to those movements, and then they take those applications and they put it in a sparring context, where you have a training partner who is really trying to hit you or really trying to control and hurt you, and you're trying to apply these techniques there and you find yourself to be effective, there's nothing wrong with that. So I really don't think the issue is in the art so much as the issue is in the way people express or the way people train in the arts. So yes, traditional martial arts can be effective for law enforcement if practiced properly. Another thing you want to consider in this case is the type of traditional martial arts you're training. My recommendation for law enforcement will be grappling-based martial arts rather than striking-based arts. And the reason being is that, one, the optics are a lot better for grappling-based art. It looks a whole lot better to control a person and take them to the ground and get them in cuffs than to beat a person into submission. And with these striking-based arts, oftentimes this is kind of what you become a little reliant on striking, which looks bad and can often escalate, versus relying on positional control. So yes, traditional martial arts can be beneficial for law enforcement under certain parameters. But tell me what you think in the comments below, whether or not you feel traditional martial arts work for law enforcement. And if you like these videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you on the next one.